Good morning and welcome to GC 365. We are on day 198. It is July 17th. If you haven't looked at your calendar today, I don't know why I said that. It doesn't matter at all. But I am Pastor Jordan. I am the Mill Creek Middle School pastor. And with me, I have one of my middle school volunteers, Brittany. Brittany, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself, how long you've been going to Gold Creek, and what you do in middle school?
Yeah, sure. So me and my family have been going to Gold Creek for about 3.5 years.
Okay.
And then Jordan approached me to assist and volunteer in middle school and lead our 7th grade or now 8th grade girls group in our Tuesday night Connect group.
Yeah.
So basically we meet and we study the lesson and we talk, we dive deep on questions about the lesson and just dive a little bit deeper on God and what's going on in their lives. And so it's been super rewarding for me and just an awesome way to connect with the kids. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, today, just diving in really quick to our scriptures that we've read, we got to look at the duties today. Okay. And we got to look at Aaron's descendants being assigned either priestly duties or musical duties, and with that they got appointed one or the other. And when I read that, I know for myself I would definitely have been assigned priestly duties, because pretty much all that comes out of my mouth when I sing or I worship is a joyful noise, and it is not good in any way, shape, or form. That's typically why I stand really close to the speakers when we do worship with the middle schoolers, so I don't scare them. But Brittany, respond. Which one do you think that God would have appointed you if you were being appointed a duty?
So I think it would be music.
Okay.
I love music. I'm constantly singing songs to my kids about chores and making up lyrics and, just singing to them on a daily basis. They love it. They think it's awesome.
Could you give us an example of what you would say? Like, is it replacing words in a song?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So give us an example. And for those of you who don't know, you have Logan and Tenley, right? Yeah. So give us an example of a song.
Okay. So it would be like move, kids, clean up your toys, clean up your shoes, kids, clean with a broom.
Okay. You heard it here first. That's going to be in the Billboard Top 100, maybe someday, not ever. But I do want to move out of the Old Testament, because I'm going to admit that First Chronicles in general is not my favorite books to read through in the Bible. So coming from a pastor, I feel like that's, a legitimate reason to not read that. But we read it because then we can know more things, I guess. Moving on to Romans 4, though, I asked Brittany to really take a look and asked her what stood out to you in this reading for you.
Yeah. So for me, before I really started my walk in faith, I definitely thought that, people that did good deeds and, were good servants and good people and just always did the right thing, that they would make their way to heaven, and then once I started my own journey, you learn that things work a little bit differently. So in this verse, what really stood out to me was that Abraham was not justified or saved by his works, but by his faith.
Yeah.
And God's grace is a free gift, so we don't actually have to earn it or work for it for his salvation.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think that stood out in that I want while I'm, serving in middle school and I'm going to church and I think I'm doing the right thing most of the time, like I really want my behavior to serve as evidence in my faith and that I believe.
Yeah. Do you feel like at any point in your journey or your walk with God that you felt like you had to essentially earn your way to heaven? Did you ever experience that or think that at all?
I think so. I mean, in church, there's sometimes, you think you're not doing as much as somebody else, or you're
Yeah.
not maybe like living up to someone's ideal Christian or views.
Yeah.
So a little bit, but as I dive deeper into my faith and my walk and my journey, you learn that that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
I'm also really upset that you didn't tell me that serving in 7th grade wouldn't get me to heaven in advance, but
Yeah, especially that age, you would honestly think that you could, earn merit to heaven possibly, but it's not quite how it works.
I'm kidding.
But talking about faith, your journey and your walk with God, you've had to have a lot of faith, and what has made you appreciate God in those moments where you've had to truly have faith?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been in so many moments where like that was the only option. My daughter was premature, and so in that, they're like, I have no control over anything. And so in those moments, of her, recovering, all I had was faith, and so it was really that rock
Yeah.
bottom feeling of like, hey, this is it, and I mean, that's kind of how it all started.
Premature. How premature? I forget.
So she was 8 weeks premature.
8 weeks
Mhm.
premature, but there was also complications,
There
right?
was.
And you thought, and I'm kind of just putting this on you. I didn't expect to, but I feel like it's a good moment to just, show other people to have faith that at one moment, right, you and your husband, that you're going to have to choose her or you to
Yes.
live.
Yes.
And you want to talk about a moment of faith,
Yes.
right? And you and Dane really had to just start praying
Yes.
and seek God in that moment, and to now be able to use your story as a testimony, especially to those around you, or even those 7th about to be 8th grade girls, right? And truly pouring into them, they can see and glean off of someone like yourself to truly have faith in someone. Looking at Psalm 13 now, David kind of feels like he's being ignored by God. If you read through Psalms, you kind of often get this like back and forth between David and God when it is David writing in the Psalms. And so he feels like, God, why are you ignoring me? Come on. You ever felt like you've been left on red with God? Yeah.
Yes,
And
for sure.
you're like, seriously, I know you're there, and I know that you hear me, so don't act like you don't hear me, right? One of those moments. And even in that moment, though, David says this in verses 5 and 6, but I trust in your unfailing love. I will rejoice because you have rescued me. I will sing to the Lord because he is good to me. Even when we feel left on red, or we feel like we're being ignored by God, David gives us this example of truly, hey, even though I can't see you working, even though I don't know what you're doing, even though I feel like you're ignoring me, I'm going to just continue to rejoice in this moment and sing to you because you truly are good to me, and you've brought me this far, and I'm going to continue to have that faith and that trust. But what did you get out of that?
Yeah, I think I totally relate to that, in that anytime, I'm feeling, it goes back to that faith part, right? Like anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed or, feeling like very out of control, I just like blast worship music in my car or
Yeah.
in the shower. And it's like maybe the number one piece of advice I even give to the 7th grade girls is that like it's an easy thing
It is
to do,
Yeah.
and like it's a total mind shift out of whatever you're going through. And like sometimes you'll be listening to music, like it'll get like a line will give me chills because
Yeah.
it just like speaks to what I'm going through in the moment.
Yeah. And there's truly no reason for someone to, especially students, to not have access to good worship music, not old sitting in a pew hymnal worship. If you love that, great on you. I can't handle that type of stuff. And I know that if I told a middle schooler to go listen to that, their ears might actually start bleeding. Okay. But we appreciate you tuning in to GC 365. Brittany, thank you for coming on with me. And we hope that this helps you out in truly understanding, having faith, because that is our duty as Christ followers, to have faith and trust in God, even when we can't see what he's doing. Have a great day.